that I mute the voice on Facebook so that we're not talking over ourselves. Sometimes I have to do that. Sometimes I don't.
Mhm.
It all just kind of depends on how Facebook is feeling that day, it seems. Looks like we are live. So all of you that are watching us chit chat, it's just a moment here to make sure I've got everything situated. Turn that down. There we go. All right. So good morning, almost good afternoon. Where are we at? Depending on what time zone you're in. I know that we have women in our group here that are in California. We have, I think we have a couple of ladies in our group from Hawaii, so it's a little earlier there. We definitely have a lot of women on the East Coast. We are growing our reach in the big, beautiful state of Texas. And we have an amazing lady here today on the International Women in Business Mastermind. I'm so excited to have her join us today. And as you all know, the International Women in Business Mastermind, or IWB Mastermind, has been going strong now at least once a month for about the last 4 years. I'm pretty sure we're getting close to 5 years. And now this last 6 months, we've had such great enthusiasm for the program that we've been featuring women twice a month. So that is really fun, especially with the way that the Empowerment Empire is moving about. We are reaching out to all of these amazing women. And as we are planning out our Boss Latinas anthology book tour, we are reaching out to see where are all of you located so that we can connect with you and then hopefully come and meet you at some point in person. So today we are featuring a really fantastic woman who's going to talk to us all about how she built and developed her organization and what keeps her going and what are some of her plans for the future. So it is my great honor to introduce to you our very special guest today, Eleana Estrada at Tianquiztli Creations. She is coming to us from the great state of Texas. She was raised in the city of Chicago, Illinois, where she participated in city-sponsored programs growing up. These programs sparked an interest in journalism, which for more, let me read that back again. These programs sparked an interest because it's in her first person. So that's what threw me off. The programs that she attended sparked an interest in journalism for her. But more than that, they encouraged her to want to talk to people and to get to know everything about them, especially after listening to their personal life stories. Girlfriend, we have that very much so in common. The more I talk to people, the more I want to talk to more people and get to know them and see who they are and where they come from and what they're doing. I've always been one of those people watchers. Along my own journey of learning my ancestral background, I came up with the idea of creating a business where I could merge my ideas. I looked into my culture and within my friends for inspiration to start my growth. I took a chance on myself, and I am so glad that I did, because not only am I able to share my culture with the world, but I am now able to also showcase the amazing talent that I have found within my cultura all throughout the United States and beyond. Tianquiztli Creations is a business of multiple outlets. Through her company, she is able to market and sell all of the jewelry that she makes, the 3 books that she has produced, and recently the podcast that she has begun, which I think is really cool. I'm looking forward to learning more about the scary stories to keep you up at night. It's definitely something that I would totally listen to. My latest project, or her latest project that has recently caught fire, is a newsletter where she writes about topics such as practicing self-care, where she is able to feature an array of small businesses and artists of varying backgrounds. The message behind her shop has always been to be friendly and inclusive to all, as well as provide anyone who wants a place to showcase their talents with a fantastic location to do so. That is so fun. We have so much in common. Welcome to our program, Eleana Estrada. How are you today?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I'm excited to share my business and how I got started and, what the future holds for it as well. Just very excited.
It is, it's very reticent of, so about, my daughter is about to be, she's 9. She will be 10 years old in a couple of months. Oh my God, she's gonna be 10 years old. And I love all of your tattoos. And one of my most favorite tattoos is this one here. And when those are her footprints from when she was, born. And oh my God, her feet are like, she can wear my shoes now. It's ridiculous. Yeah. They grow so fast, and she's going to be pretty tall. But anyhow, so but before I had my daughter, my baby was my art gallery. And it was called Altered Egos Art House, and it was in the Sacramento LGBT Community Center. And I would seek out local artists and teach them how to run an art gallery exhibition of their work. We would design all of their, I worked in art galleries and museums for a while before I did this. And so I knew how to do the labels on the walls. I knew how to properly present their artwork. We had programs, we had an opening night celebration, sometimes with Brazilian dancers. And it just was so inspiring and invigorating to meet all these amazing artists and to like bring them together, to really feature them. So tell me, is that sort of what you have going on with your organization? I read that you were bringing together a lot of different artists and different people, different members of the community to sell their products. So tell me more about that.
Yeah, so I think basically I had to start somewhere. So I had to create a brand for myself, and that's where I opened the jewelry shop. But with the name, the intention was to always grow. I said, you can't call it marketplace and just sell jewelry. You have to have more, right? So as I started getting a little bit of fire with the jewelry, I started thinking about other ideas. I enjoy making the jewelry. It's a lot of fun. I've actually done collaborations with other businesses as well, where we come up with the design, we come up
Yeah.
with the, why did we make this? What does it represent? And I have actually right now 2 active collaborations with another young lady out of Indiana, and it's been really fun. So that kind of is what drove me. As far as the newsletter, that's really when things started to hit off. I started looking for artists, Austin, Colleen, whether it was singers, rappers, tattoo artists, because my husband's a tattoo artist as well. Started getting on the road with him and started just handing out my cards to the artists and the conventions. And it was like, hey, I am starting this newsletter. Would you like to be part of it? And they would be like, is it free? And I'd be like, yes. you know, to start somewhere. And it was so much fun just getting to interview them and get to know, why they name themselves a certain artist name. Where are they from? What drives them, to want to continue to learn in that industry. And it was just, it's been such a roller coaster, of course, because you learn, some things don't work out the way you want them to, but overall, it's been a great experience. I was able to go to one of the local schools here in Killeen as well. And the artists that I was there with, they actually came from the shop where my husband works. And they were teaching the children there how to like draw, like, basic art techniques and things like that. And I was just taking pictures, and I really just felt like I was in my element at that moment.
Tell us about the name of your company.
Of course. So Tianquiztli Creations. Tianquiztli comes from the Nahuatl language, Aztec, and it actually means marketplace. It kind of derives from that word tianguis, which I'm sure most people have heard because it's an open marketplace in, Mexico, California might have them too, like a lot of like Hispanic communities. And it's just an open, out in the sun, out in the wind kind of marketplace. You can sell shirts, CDs, food, anything really. And that's really what motivated me. Like I said, the name itself was because I knew that I was going to make this bigger than just a jewelry. It was like a reminder that I had to keep pushing myself.
I love it. And as you were saying earlier, when we were first chit-chatting, your husband designed the logo.
He did. So he designed the logo. I went for that kind of like yellowish, kind of marigold color, because it does mean kind of like, to me, new life, resurrection, positive, positive energy all over that color. And it's the jaguar, of course, because you see the jaguar, it represents a lot of the indigenous cultures, especially like Aztec or Mayan. Like
Yeah.
you will see them use it a lot of their traditional wear as well. So I went for him because I love jaguars, but also because I felt like it was a memorable symbol of what I represented or I wanted to represent.
It's really beautiful. It is definitely memorable.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love it. How did you get started what were you doing before you decided to transition into being a business owner?
Yeah, so I was working for insurance companies. I worked for like Allstate, local insurance companies here, about 3 years, maybe a little over. And it was during the pandemic, COVID-19, when it started.
Yeah.
Um, they started cutting my hours, and it just, out of the normal for me. And I needed something to feel at ease, let go of that stress and all. And so I was spending a lot of time at home because of that. So I said, what if I just go to one of these like arts and crafts places and buy some beads? What
Yeah.
can and I just picked like random things, that looks cute, let's see what this does. And I started making them. And, my husband's like, what are you doing? I'm like, man, new hobby, just kind of see what. And so I just started creating, and I realized that it really brought a sort of like calmness to me, just kind of just focus what I was doing. And so I
Yeah.
started more, and I said, well, now I need a reason. Like, why am I creating it? What's the meaning behind the colors? I started doing more research on crystals and their meanings and what they can do for us. And,
Yeah.
even the colors, like what colors represent happiness and what colors will make us feel at ease if we're in a stressful working environment.
Yeah.
And that's what opened, that window. I did it for like a year before I decided, I think this is more than a hobby. It was
Mhm.
definitely a lot more time, a lot more money.
Yeah.
And just maybe as soon as like earlier this year, sometime in February, I was going to like school for like IT support. It didn't work out, and the school refunded me like my money. It was like maybe $500 that I had paid for tuition.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, if I don't take this money and take a chance on myself and get something much bigger, than me going shopping for clothes, I'm never going to do it. And so I cashed that check, and I went ahead, got what I needed, got a whole bunch of material to make more jewelry. I went ahead and purchased like a Cricut machine to see how that, I tried it out. I tried making the shirts myself.
Yeah.
It's, that's okay. We try things. It's a lot of work, but that in itself also led me to start doing digital designs for t-shirts. So I
Yeah.
actually send out my designs to a company called Redbubble, upload my designs, and they take care of pretty much everything. They make it, they ship it, they take care of customer service for me. So it's one of those
Wow.
things. I
That's good
couldn't.
to know. I'm gonna jot that down because I know that there are a lot of women in our Jefas Unidas Latina Entrepreneurs Facebook group, where we're currently live streaming, who do like print work and do t-shirt work. So I'm gonna save that link so we could share that a little bit later. Um, I want to share your website
Okay.
because I love it, and I'm looking at it right now. And I pulled it up as soon as you started talking, and I was like, let's take a look at this. It's beautiful. It's extremely memorable because I want to show off your designs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Queen Energy collaboration with the pacifist feminist.
Mm-hmm.
Jungla Jaguar, or is that what you say, or Jungla?
Jungla. Mm-hmm.
Jungla
Jungla.
Jaguar. Let's look at that. It is so pretty.
It's really bright. It's definitely one of my favorite sets. Mhm.
Wow. So tell me, what is the materials that you're using here?
So those right there, the green is just the agate, right? So it's very like bright, and it's really light. Honestly, I love working with it. Then the yellow's gonna be citron. That citron really brings in like, it stands for like happiness and joy, right? Kind of radiating that positivity, and of course
Yeah.
is a tiger eye. So tiger eye is a very protective stone. A lot of
Mhm.
people kind of basics on crystals. They love tiger eye, like keeping it around them. And then I brought in some like wood pieces just to kind of put it all together, giving it that kind of jungle vibe. That's what we're
It
going
is
for.
so gorgeous. Let's see if I can get back. Yeah, so who also, so while we're cruising your website, because I really wanted to brag about your website because I love it so much. And you've got so many cool things. Reset the Vibe, soy candles,
Mhm.
Obsidian and Mystic Blue Tiger's Eyes. Who does your website for you?
I do. Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah, I do. I actually use Square. They basically service it.
Mhm.
But design, I'm the designer.
I love it. No, I'm sure we could spend a lot of time, but I just want to make sure that everyone who is catching the replay or is going to be checking out the video on our new YouTube channel, which I'm super excited about. But there's so many amazing things here. You can shop her for all of the products. You could take a look at her podcast. You could pull up her newsletter, look at the t-shirts, check her out on Amazon. There's just a really beautiful plethora of product that you're going to see here. Now on this site here, is this a combination of your work and the other artists' work that you represent?
So right now, I do have like the collaborations on here. In the future, I am sure I'll probably be expanding to carry additional products, like the gift boxes that you see there. Those are
Mhm.
actually three women-owned businesses. They come from like Idaho. I believe there's also Florida. So like that box is made up of other three businesses, and you can see in the description like where to follow these ladies if you want to order additional products from them. So like I kind of started doing that in a sense, just to make
That's
sure to
so
treat
fantastic.
well. Mhm.
This is really great. Okay, I'll stop sharing because then I'm gonna want to start shopping. Eliana, that is fabulous. I really like that a lot. It really brings to mind and reminds me of just the really great experiences that I used to have when I was doing the collaborative gallery. And it was because it was rarely one artist that we would showcase. It was typically like we had four walls. So I typically would do four artists and, each artist would get a wall. And just the the creative essence that it would bring to a space when you have all of these different creative minds coming together. It just made it so rich and so enjoyable and something that you really just wanted to spend your time in because you're celebrating not only individualistic artistic abilities and desires to create, but you're also supporting individuals who are small business owners who are selling their artwork as as their income, as their livelihood. I think my heart has always been in that space. My family has always done a lot of native artwork. Personally, I've done a lot of native artwork, a lot of painting. I was a photographer for a lot of years, and I used to sell quite graphic photographs that got banned from a couple of places, which was always fun and interesting. But it just was an opportunity to really, I think, express ourselves and who we are, and really love what we're doing. I can certainly relate with my own story as well as with so many of the women that I've spoken to that during COVID, when we had to stay home and not interact, and then our jobs were getting cut back or our businesses were getting cut back, and we just really sort of went within and thought, okay, I need to do something with my time because I can't just sit here, and really, let those creative juices sort of flow and create these things. So tell me about what starting this business has done for you outside of the business elements to it. Like I love that you're collaborating with so many different people. How are you guys doing today in your organization?
Yeah, I think we're doing great. Just like you said, it's connecting people. So whenever I happen to share, let's say I'm promoting one of the artists, and I started doubling up because there's so many people want to participate,
Yeah.
and they really start sharing the entire edition, including that other business or the other artist they were sharing the newsletter with. And that to me was like, there it is, there it is. We can support each other. It doesn't hurt at all. It's definitely boosted my confidence, I would say. I've worked in customer service for so long, and I think there was a point where it was just like robotic, to
Yeah.
have that, like, be a good customer service agent. And now it's more like not robotic, it's natural. Like, it's natural. I want to talk to people. The way I speak to them, express myself is so much better as well. And I just love the idea that, everything that I've done has been a learning experience, whether or not it wasn't successful at first and I had to scrap it off and start over. The second time I did it, it worked. And so I
Yeah.
continue to do so.
What I like to remind so many entrepreneurs, as because I had to remind myself of it for so long, is that if something doesn't work out, it's not because you're just supposed to quit. It's because maybe it just wasn't the right thing at the right time. So every day we wake up with a new opportunity to create something amazing, to create something awesome, and to put ourselves out there. And in a conversation with another couple of coaches that I had a while back, so what I do is I'm a women's empowerment business coach. I find women who want to build their businesses and I help them do that. And in a conversation with a bunch of the coaches that I collaborate with on a pretty consistent basis, one of them, she was like, if you have this idea in your brain, it's there for a reason, so you can either just sort of let it pass, or you can really dive into that. Why am I having these thoughts about creating this thing? Why am I continuously thinking about how I can connect other people? It's because you're supposed to.
Mhm.
Something within you, something in the greater world is allowing you to come up with these thoughts and inspiring you to come up with these thoughts, because this is a way to find yourself, a way to find like who you are, who you're destined to be as a person. And I want to share the screen again really quickly, and then I want to ask you another question. So here, tell us a little bit more about about the newsletters. These are really cool. I love the design. I love the design, and there's a lot of them. So October 15th. So you do them, is it like
Five
almost monthly?
every 2 weeks.
Wow, every 2 weeks. How do you find the time to do a newsletter every 2 weeks?
I take a lot of weekends where I solely concentrate on the newsletter alone for content. So like, I usually have maybe a month or two ahead of me. So sometimes they're already ready for like a month. They're just kind of sitting there waiting to be uploaded.
Wow, that is awesome. Because I know that so we are currently looking at bringing on someone to do our newsletter for us, because there's so much that we want to put into the newsletter that it's just hard to decide on design. So
Right.
when you decide to do your newsletter, this is the most recent one.
Mhm.
Do you have a consistent theme about your newsletters? Like, is there always a crystal? Is there always like a backstory?
Yeah, so there's usually always the month crystal. So we talk a little bit about, and usually I try to make those crystals what I use. So things I keep in my inventory. That way my customers know exactly what I'm using, what it's for. And from there on, I usually go for this exact category, like crystals they can use for maybe abundance, or in this case, good sleep. And
Yeah,
again, I always tend to carry those in my inventory for the same reason. So people are like, oh, I need that, let me go and get it.
that's fantastic. I love this. And then music.
I started doing this recently, featured music, because I have so many friends that do music here locally, and they're great. And I feel like they just need to get the right audience.
Mhm.
So this is one of my friends here, Nova Ultra. He's really talented. We actually were working on a collaboration not that long ago, and we'll probably figure something out in the future. But really talented artist, so that's a new one. The feature jewelry, also something I keep in there, so that way they know what's new in the store, go check it out. The only thing I run into sometimes, by the time I upload it, someone bought it.
Oh yeah.
I'll be like, and these are kind of just easy things that I've learned, like this one's just kind of cleansing for your home. A lot of people are like, oh, they may not want to use sage, usually some people really think it's more for ceremonies, like more private things like that. So I say you don't need to burn anything. There's other ways to take care of your home, protect it. Sometimes almost the intention itself can be enough, sufficient.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little like that. Of course, I'm a writer at heart, so I always include a scary story, short stories I've collected over the last few years. And sometimes I even put the ones from the book in here, but kind of a variety of that. And then, of course, the features for the small businesses. So this is Marissa from Deco Salon, Coppers Cove, Texas. She is amazing. She does great work. And I just had to feature her. She's really so fun to be around with. So we featured her. And then, of course, that last page is going to be one of our friends who is inspiring rapper. He's really young, but really like this is what he wants, very much like motivated, to make it happen. So
That is fantastic. I
mhm.
love it. That is so cool. Tell us. So I love your newsletter. I think it's fantastic. It gives me some ideas on um, not having to make it so busy. Our newsletters were in the past were just really design heavy, almost too design heavy, and I like the clean slate of your newsletter. It helps me focus in on the story that I want to be learning about and not necessarily on like the structure of the thing. I like that a
I love
lot.
being customer service. When you're on the phone with customers, you have a good maybe 2-3 minutes before they lose interest. And I
Hmm.
felt the same thing with my content. You have a good few minutes before they're like, they're going to start scrolling,
Right.
or even the podcast. If it's not interesting enough and your podcast episode is about 10-15 minutes, they're going to start skipping.
Yeah. Yeah.
get, get them right, the first time.
Tell us about your books.
Definitely. So I have 3 books out right now. The first one was released in 2020, and that is The Scary Stories to Keep You Up at Night. So for that one, I wrote the stories. One of our good friends, Coral, she edited for me, and my husband did all the illustrations. So back then, he actually took the time to pencil and paper draw everything.
Wow. That's
Yeah, it was a really fun like project because I would just send him over the stories. He would read them, and whatever he kind of remembered, that's what he would draw. It was about a year, I think, before we went ahead and published it. And I'm not sure if anyone has or uses Kindle publishing. When I
mhm.
first used it, it was very, very frustrating to get it right. And now they have software programs like Canva. I use Canva a lot.
Yeah.
But back then I didn't have that. So I had to go through, I think it was like typing this up on Microsoft Word, then converting it to a PDF file, then creating the cover. It was a lot of work. When we
Yeah.
finally got it to get published and they approved it, I cried. But it's been such a great journey. Yeah, I love it. It's definitely a favorite, especially during Halloween season. A lot of people tend to start buying it. It has about 20 stories, and most of the stories are either stories that we were told by our parents or family members, or maybe
Yeah.
things that we experienced ourselves. So, mhm.
I love that. Yeah, it's so funny. I don't know, maybe it's a Hispanic culture thing. The stories that we get told as little kids are scary.
are
That is
are.
fantastic. What are the adventures of Biggie and Chester?
So Biggie and Chester are actually my real kids, my real fur babies.
Awesome.
Chester, the yellow one, he's the Chihuahua, and the gray one is Biggie. He is a mixed Yorkie. So this kind of started because they have really fun interactions all the time. We've had them for quite some time. Chester's actually 5 years old and Biggie is 9. So we've had them for quite some time with us. And I just one day was looking at them play and I said, I wonder, how much content I can come up with just by, watching them.
Yeah.
And I started typing, started writing the story, and I was laughing the entire time. I, and I said, I love this. I showed it to like my sisters, my husband, and they're like, this is actually really cute. And, at that time, my husband, David, he was already, traveling. So he didn't have time to illustrate this one for me. And I
Yeah.
remember I felt like I don't want to say spite, but I was frustrated because I'm like, well, I'm trying to release this book. Like, when are you gonna make time? He's like, I just been really busy. I went on Canva and I started designing them myself. So those illustrations, I just got them done.
All you.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so cute. It's so hilarious. So my parents have a dog, and she's a girl, Chloe, and she's like this big mix of stuff. She's like mixed Dotson, some sort of terrier. I think there's some pit bull in there. She's got this funky little jaw, and her front feet, kind of do this sort of a thing. And she will sit, and she's a little older now, so she's getting some grays. And she sits on the front couch, which is Chloe's couch, by the windowsill. And she'll just kind of like, she'll put her arm up on the chair and just kind of sit like this. And I'm like, look at her. She looks like a little old man, just like watching everybody going. And so I can imagine, because our pets are so funny sometimes. They just really, you sit there and want to laugh about it. And then, as a creative, then you start creating these stories in your mind, and you're like, I bet you I can make other people laugh about this too. And you put it into a book. So good job on that. Those look hilarious. Yeah, absolutely. What should we be expecting from you, as well as Tianquiztli Creations? Tell us what you have coming up and what we can look forward to with your organization.
Definitely. So we are going to be focusing on the podcast a little bit more. Those come out every Wednesday, but I'm looking to invite more guest spots, talk about more scary stories, talk about their small businesses, things. We're looking to also already start looking for features on the newsletter. So I went ahead and been talking about that, get those questions answered for me. We're going to go ahead and expand that as well. I'm bringing in other writers, and that's just because I am going to be busier with other projects in the next few months. So I said, I don't want to lose this momentum. So let me go ahead and find myself some help, keep going. And then, of course, in the new year, I will be designing specifically certain bracelets or necklaces with the intent to actually use some of those profits to help organizations, specifically those supporting women in need. So we're going to be focusing on that as well. Just kind of an idea after seeing a lot of things going on, whether it was in Mexico, a lot of women being hurt, needing help, and then more recently, the things in Iran as well. Yeah. So start thinking a little bit, bringing those topics to light. I feel that a lot of my information comes from TikTok and then me Googling, making sure that it's the right information. But I said, this is my business, this is my brand, and I can feature any topic I want as long as it's respectful, but I can go ahead and be, what TikTok is for me, I want to be for other people. Be like, hey, I heard it, I read it on Tianquiztli Creations, or I heard it on her podcast, did you hear about it? So that's what I'm aiming for. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. What is the name of your podcast?
It's under the same name, so Tianquiztli Creations, and you can stream it through Castbox.
Let me see, I'm pulling it up. And I love the consistency in your design. So let me share this page again with everyone, because I'm really enjoying sharing your website. That's fantastic. Yeah, I love it. I love the muted sort of mauve. That's totally my color. Like, I love that color. And then you have your logo, and then you have your name. It's very recognizable. I really like how when you see something, on your site, it's very recognizable as yours, as Tianquiztli Creations. Scary stories, special guests, and more. Listen to more scary stories. Our guests talk about ghosts, the occult, and more. And so what are the sort of topics that you present on your podcast? Is it always about scary stories and small business owners, or what kind of is your intention for your podcast?
So right now it's been focusing on the scary stories. I know that I took a recent trip to New Orleans, and we talked about that as well. I've been featuring, of course, David, my husband, on there. We've been talking about how he got started in the art industry, what his plans are for the future. We, our most recent episode today that dropped is about Dia de los Muertos and how we came to know about it as children. But mostly I just kind of turn on, the setup. I sit with someone and we're having a conversation. And they kind of tend to just open up because I think they know that I like the scary stories, and that's what it leads into. But sometimes, like one of the other episodes we had here with John Molina, one of our good friends, he was talking about, he's Puerto Rican, and he was talking about a specific event that happens every year and how they basically throw themselves into the river to kind of start a new life for the new year, which was like a experience. I was like, I've never heard that. That's amazing. So it's kind of like whatever they want to talk about in that moment, we'll go ahead and just let the conversation flow.
Yeah. Well, you're very easy to talk to, obviously. I've been sitting here just like chit-chatting it with you. It's like some of our IWB masterminds are very like this is what we're going to teach you kind of conversations. And then some of our masterminds are about, you know, really digging into like the past and how you decided to go this route. And I love the candid nature of our conversation where we're just kind of, let's talk about this and let's talk about that. And I wish you so much great continued success and collaborations that you've got going on, because you are super easy to talk to. I'm looking forward to checking out your podcast and listening more on a lot of your conversations. So we have just a few moments left, but I want to ask you, because this particular live video is being live streamed into Jefas Unidas Latina Entrepreneurs Facebook group, I always like to ask our featured speakers or our guests, um, as the women who are listening to this or will be listening to this or will be watching, you know, this on our new YouTube channel for the Empowerment Empire, what are some of your words of advice that you can offer to really to the woman who wants to start her business, to the woman that maybe is like struggling in starting her business? Like what can you say as an entrepreneur who's been in business for a little while, also started during the pandemic, which so many of us did? How do you keep motivated, keep moving forward, and what would you say as some advice to the women listening to our conversation?
Definitely. I would say take a chance, take a chance. And honestly, everything that you project to other people, whether it's patience, understanding, anything like that, give it to yourself, give it to yourself because it goes a long way. I would say it's definitely been a roller coaster and a learning experience for me. But once I started to give that same treatment that I give to others, taking care of them to myself, this seemed like there was an endless possibilities, for me to succeed. So I would say take a chance, take care of yourself, stay positive, keep moving forward.
Excellent. Eleana Estrada of Tianquiztli Creations. It is a great honor to get to know you and to talk with you in person and to share your story and your business. For all of you watching out there, the International Women in Business Mastermind is really focused, especially during Hispanic Heritage Month, which we also do this most of the year anyways, is feature Latina women or women of diversity to share with you their stories and the joy that they have found through allowing themselves to be the creatives that they are. So many of us had to really make some major shifts over the last number of years and decided to really turn that into something amazing to bring community together. So many of the women that I've been able to have the great pleasure of speaking with have just created this wonderful community around themselves so that they could support others and just, find their tribe and build their tribe. And I oftentimes will talk about that. So if you're interested in sharing about your amazing organization and you just had this great desire to chat on the IWB Mastermind and share with us your expertise and your knowledge, please reach out. Don't be afraid to do so. If you're thinking about maybe I'd like to chat with Vihil online, then message me, reach out to me, and we'll get you scheduled on the mastermind here. We will be providing this program on our Empowerment Empire YouTube channel, so I'll be posting that link later. I have posted the link here for Eleana's organization, so please check out her webpage, her website, her podcast, the books, and all of the really cool artists that she's bringing together, under this realm of Tianquiztli Creations, this fantastic marketplace. So thank you so much, Eleana. It was a great pleasure to meet with you and to chat with you, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. We'll be in touch. Have a great day, everybody.